these letters. It's, we'll talk about it a little bit before the game. I think it's important for our guys to reflect why they're wearing a jersey. But I'm excited. There's a lot going on in our country this week with the inauguration and everything that's happened leading up to. And I think to celebrate King Day, to reflect on the legacy, to listen to the words that he spoke, and just really see how they still are relevant to what's going on, and how, although there's some progress, we still have a long ways to go. But I think when you get to reflect and you get to think back and you get to have these conversations, what you get is a reminder of how far we still have to go and what we can do about it.
If you don't mind, I'm going to follow up and switch to just Cam update, Gallo update for us this afternoon.
Yeah, Cam is out. Obviously, Gallo is still out, but progressing well. I know he's done some good court work with our interns, Cam and Steve. They were back on the road trip and they were working him out. Both of them said he looked good. I talked to Gallo last night and this morning, and he says he feels good. He's going to tape for a while. He doesn't like taping ankles. He doesn't do that in his career, but understanding he needs to tape until he gets himself, extremely comfortable, and then he's going to get out of that and get back to what he thinks is normal. But says he feels good. He says he just needs to, fight through. But the workouts have progressed every day.
And does that mean Herter? You'll go with Herter in the starting lineup again, like the other night?
Yeah.
And just when you look at these guys, the personnel that they bring this afternoon in the T-Wolves, what do you want to see from your guys? What will be the keys this afternoon?
We've got to slow D'Angelo Russell down, and we've got to slow Beasley down. Those are their two wings that are their high-level scorers. Obviously, missing Cat and Hernan Gomez and Rubio are three critical guys, but we got to stop the two guys that'll have the basketball for the majority of the time. And with Russell, a lot of pick and roll with Beasley coming off of pin downs, getting downhill in addition to catch and shoot. And then we got to make sure some of those other guys don't get going. Naz Reid is a pick and pop big. We got to take away, early 3-point confidence from him, and we got to keep them off the glass.
Chris Kirshner.
When you have several guys out like you guys have had this season, how does that affect what you try to do game to game? Does your thinking change of like how you use offensive sets or personnel? How does that all factor into?
Yeah, early on, you're still learning each other. I just scripted with 6 guys that I think have played together in different ways, and just trying to give them a different look. It shouldn't be a standard package for when Brandon has the basketball and Trey has the basketball. And so we're still learning, some pairings, some combinations, and you try and figure out what works best for one group and what works best for the other group. And you need a rotation in order to do that. And, we have somewhat of a rotation because of the guys being out. You kind of get stuck into it. And then when you start integrating guys back into it, you figure out what the new rotations will look like. But we'll worry about that later and try and grow the groups that we have right now.
Terrell Thomas.
Coach, kind of piggybacking off of the question that was asked to start the interview about MLK Day, can you speak to us about the uniqueness of the uniforms in which the team will wear today, having those MLK letters on the jersey, the stained glass window effect that'll be on the court, the first time that an NBA franchise has used an idol, a civil rights leader, any person to represent and identify their team on their actual uniform. Can you talk to me about that uniqueness?
Well, I think you answered it. It's unique. It's the first time. It's symbolic of this city. I'd rather flip it and ask you, what makes it unique to you? As you're studying and seeing it, you're outside the organization. What are your thoughts on it?
I honestly think it's an amazing thing. As we are mentioning here, we've never seen any professional sports team take the initiative of put in an actual, it's normally what the team is representing, whether it be the Hawks or the Falcons. So to actually have a figure who was so instrumental in so many different things, not only here in Atlanta, but across our nation and across our world, I think is extraordinary. But with you being there and with the guys being there, that'll be something that'll go down, in my opinion, in sports history. It'll only be a few amount of guys who will actually wear that jersey, a few Hawks, members who will be in the Hawks fraternity to wear that jersey. So personally, I think it's an amazing thing.
No, I agree. I think the guys are excited. We'll have a conversation and a video prior to the game, and I think earn these letters is a nice statement, and I think it's really an understanding of what Dr. King's legacy is about. And so we'll be able to talk about that. We'll be able to explain that a little bit greater in detail. But I agree. I think it's pretty unique. I think it's really unique that we are the team that gets to celebrate Dr. King. We are the team that gets to celebrate a humanitarian, and we get to do it and combine the world of sports with what's going on in our world, in our city, with our city's greatest leader. So it's unique. It's special. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Chris.
Trey's floater hasn't fallen the way it has last season. Is there something that you think defenses are doing to try and limit his ability to get to that shot?
No, I think when you take that type of shot, it's if you can get to it, it's because defenses are back and they're not letting you get to the rim, and it's a skill of his. He has to take that shot. He has to take that shot when he gets into the paint, and he can't over penetrate and get into the crowd. I think what we want to help him is to be able to make the reads. I think there's some times where the lob guy is there, and he was tremendous with Clint in the last couple games. And I think sometimes the kick out for threes are there, and he's been pretty good at that. Again, I don't measure the makes or misses. If that's the shot, we've seen the success of it. We've got to live with the failure of it. And we've got to continue to trust that the balance will always be there. And so he needs to get to those spots and continue to make the reads. And sometimes the read is to take those shots. My question for you, Chris, just kind of same deal. Just, I know you carry us. Like, what are your thoughts on today and King Day? Understanding us with the jersey, the significance of us playing on this day. You have any thoughts having lived here in Atlanta?
I think it's awesome that the organization is putting MLK's initials on the jersey just because of what he's represented. I know the Hawks organization is very passionate about being involved in the community and making sure that it's not just a business entity, but woven into the fabric of the community. And I think it's important that a sports organization takes a stand when it comes to that, because lots of times, and not even just in sports, but businesses or any other private entity, it's sometimes not the case that they want to take a stand and when it comes to social justice initiatives or anything that some people might think that you shouldn't stick to sports is usually the phrase that a lot of people use. So I think it's awesome that, especially for someone like MLK, who's meant so much to the history of the United States, that he is, prominently displayed on this team's uniforms. I think it's awesome, and I think it brings more awareness to what the Hawks are trying to do when it comes to being involved in the community. Obviously, you're heavily involved in voting rights and equal justice and all the things that all the things that you stand for. So I think it's a great thing that the Hawks are doing this.
I want to say something. Chris, you said something to me, I think early in the preseason, and I kind of took it as a knock, but then I didn't. And I want to explain it a little better, because you had asked why over the course of the summer, I decided to use my voice more. And I think I followed up by saying, well, it wasn't over the summer that I've used my voice. I think people heard me more speak on these issues because I was getting requests more because of what was going on. And so it's not a knock on you. I thought the question was good and it stuck with me because I challenge you guys. I think everyone, one of the things I learned as a head coach is when you get in a position and people request for you to speak more about social justice issues and off the court issues and things of that nature, it's easier for me to do it because I have people that are asking and they would love to have a head coach speak about social and racial justice. But I think for everyone on this call, it's kind of what my first couple years have been like off the court. You know, when I do a spades tournament or I do a Solomon's Temple family dinner, you know, to me, I'm not necessarily using my voice and speaking about it. Those are just things that I feel I'm trying to do to help the community. I don't need attention. I don't need to speak it into existence about why, but the why is simple. It's just, how can I help others? And I think for you guys all, it doesn't need to be a tragic event or a drastic event to speak up on racial or social justice. I think sometimes you helping out at a community, you helping out at a school is the equivalent to speaking up or speaking out. And so that question always stood with me because I kind of got offended because I was like, well, I've been doing a lot of stuff since I've been here. I just don't go on CNN and MSNBC to speak about Solomon's Temple. But to me, it's all one and the same. And so I just say that to you guys. I know you guys cover us athletically. You guys will cover MLK today and the events, but I don't think it needs to stop there. I think there's opportunities for everyone to continue to talk about what we can do, what we should do, what the players are doing, what you're doing, what you think of the current events. It ties into sports. No matter what we say, the fact that we talk about MLK, the fact that we talk about politics, racial and social justice, doesn't mean we have to walk away from it when there's not a major event or it's not MLK Day. So I just wanted to share that. I know you guys have more basketball questions, so we don't have to just stop right there. If you got some basketball stuff, you can still ask.
I don't see a hand for any sort of question anymore. I think we've got everything covered. So, Coach, thank you very much for joining us.
All right. Happy MLK Day.
Thanks, Coach.
You as well.